Hello and welcome to Drunken Money News. We're news full of millennials, and frankly, I'm still waiting on a participation trophy to be considered hard-hitting news editing. But before I get started, I want to thank the people who allow me to have the confidence to do this episode. For example, I would not have the confidence to be in front of you guys talking about the news, discussing what's going on in the world without our friends at New Belgium. This is their Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA, and frankly, I really couldn't do this episode without them, so thanks to them. But let's get started. Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Well, apparently what they're saving us from is millennials from total embarrassment when fixing up their first home. That's right. Home Depot is currently in total panic mode after realizing that us millennials really don't know how to use any of the products that they sell. I mean, after all, I really can't use a jigsaw. But as the Wall Street Journal points out, the company has been forced to spend millions creating video tutorials and online classes from how to use a mop to how a tape measure works. But at the end of the day, maybe Home Depot is right. Millennials, after all, are America's largest generation bubble. We make up 42% of all home buyers and 71% of first-time home buyers. But is it really condescending that we have to be taught how to use a tape measure? On to our next segment. For you cryptocurrency hodlers and Bitcoin millionaires, this is a segment for you. Yes, mining Bitcoin can make you a ton of money on the side, but did you also know that it can be put to different means? Those Bitcoin mining rigs can get pretty warm, so why not use it to heat your house? That's exactly what a few pretty ingenious millennials are thinking. A crypto startup called Kamino is selling a mining rig that also doubles as a heater for your home. And now that crypto mining is about 0.13% of the entire global energy consumption, at least now it can have a better use. It wouldn't be a millennial news update if we didn't talk about housing prices, right? Well, this isn't great for us millennials. Home prices in 80% of US cities grew twice as fast as wages. Moral of the story, that's not good. We got wages growing roughly about 2.5%, but in most major cities, housing prices are appreciating at roughly 5%. And don't even get me started on Seattle. Don't get me wrong, Seattle is a pretty dope city. I mean, you got great beer, big fans of beer, and you also have a ton of great parks. So maybe that explains what I'm about to say next. Home prices grew about 10%. That's twice as much as the average, and that's 4 times wage growth. So if you're thinking about moving to Seattle, well, good luck. Maybe you'll have more luck in Louisville, Kentucky around us. For our last segment, I'm not trying to be completely cynical. I mean, maybe our next episode can highlight all the good news that's going on for millennials. And that being said, if you have any good news you know about millennials, please share. We'd be happy to share it on our show. But for now, back to the bad news. Christmas was just a few weeks ago, and with Christmas comes Boxing Day, and with Boxing Day comes a lot of returns. But do you know what happens to those returns? Well, if you're an environmentalist like I am, it's not good. I mean, there's a pretty good chance that if you returned something recently, it ended up in planet Earth's least favorite place, a landfill. 5 billion pounds of returned items end up in the trash heap. Only about half of all returns actually make their way back to the shelves, and the rest all take a different path. Maybe consider that next time you want to return that piece of clothing, and instead maybe take it to a local homeless shelter or a Goodwill or anywhere else that they can put it to good use. And finally, on what industry has millennials killed, again, still working on a jingle there, but we want to talk about the industry that millennials have killed lately. And unfortunately today on the segment we want to talk about beer. This is more of a public outcry where I want to ask other millennials that we need to do a better job when it comes to beer, because from 2016 to 2017 we saw a 1% drop in beer penetration, and beer lost 10% of the market share to wine and liquor. And to me that's a problem, because here at Drunken Money we really couldn't do much without our good friends beer, and frankly millennials I'm looking at you to get that numbers back up. But again, most people consider that an industry that millennials are killing. Again, not me. Don't blame me for that. So with that ends our first segment of Drunken Money News. Thanks for watching. And if you hear any stories that may interest millennials but aren't the mainstream, please share. We're always happy to grow with you. And really, we do appreciate listening to this first episode. And let's get those beer numbers back up, millennials. Thanks again. We're Drunken Money.